Just so you guys know, Hyperbolic Time Chamber is a space in the Dragon Ball Z show where you can go in and you can train for a whole year within 1 day. Now, of course, such a place doesn't exist in the real world, but like we always do, we always find parallels and little metaphors to help us, make these concepts work in real life.
It's just like one of those times or time periods that you're going in your life where you're like, I need to be dialed in. I need to be focused. I need to cut out all distractions. And I'm basically going in that hyperbolic time. So that means like you in there by yourself. So I'm dialed in onto the gym. Like everything else is second. Like I don't even care about it. So I'm going to the gym twice a day. I'm doing at least 2 to 3 miles a day, things like that. I am very dialed into that. And what it does is like once you're done with that hyperbolic time chamber, when you emerge from out of it, everybody else is like, yo, what the fuck you been doing? Like what's going on with this person? Oh my God, you changed so much. And it's like, nah, what really happened was I was in a hyperbolic time chamber, fucking preparing to take over the world.
Because you get so dialed in and you kind of remove all distractions, you won't really have time to really see the people you see normally on the regular. So what ends up happening is because you're focusing and doubling and tripling down on a certain goal that you want to achieve. For example, with Mercer right now is the gym. Um, like when you come back out of that era, right, out of the hyperbolic time chamber era, like we say, it's like people will see like a year's worth of progress in a short amount of time. So like if you dial in for like 3 months, right, and you just focus on that one goal, ideally it should look like you made a year of progress in those 3 months. And so people will take notice, and it's like it's a very powerful concept because it allows you to kind of leap towards your goals. So for example, like when I was in college, I was having a hard time with college because I wanted to do too many things at the same time. Like I wanted to go to the gym, I wanted to go out, I wanted to party, I wanted to do all sorts of things, right? And then I was having trouble actually graduating because I couldn't just focus on, just studying and getting my grades. I decided to actually move away. So like I moved away to Puerto Rico for 2 years, right? And I doubled and tripled down on just the gym and studies. Now, by doing that, I basically like graduated from my medical technology program with like over a 3.0, and I got in really good shape. And then when I came back, right, I came back to Gainesville. It had been 2 years, and now I got my new job. I'm like going to the gym hard as fuck, and I'm ready to like let loose. So then all of a sudden Mercer was like, man, what's up with Christian? What's up with Christian? I got my new apartment. And all of a sudden he was seeing me like leave the apartment, like kind of late at night because I was seeing like multiple girls and stuff like that. So
Oh, you
then,
were doing that, Christian, huh?
yeah, yeah, yeah. Because, I put in the work in the hyperbolic time chamber for those 2 years. And then when I got out, it was like, it was a new me, with, new resolve.
The thing is like you see the shock look on people's faces when you like emerge and like you're this totally different person. You're like this this born like animal at this point because like you just have taken away everything else and now like you've got the objective that you were going after and now you're ready to like just go back into society. And once you go back into society, people are just like, yo, there's something different about you. Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, they could just it's like I like to say it's like a power level increase. Like now you Super Saiyan 2 and you're around fucking humans.
I
So
think in
like
the self developing community they call it monk mode too. Like it's very similar to monk mode. The only thing is a lot of times people will say like, oh, like just go your own way and get in monk mode and not care about anything. But they kind of like take that on as their personality for the long term.
I think they take away the fun though.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Like
if
we're
you
not
you take
saying that you do that long term. We're saying that pick a era, pick a time period. Like, okay, these 6 months, I'm in grind mode. I'm in the hyperbolic time chamber. When I get out of those 6 months, I'm coming
I'm
back
showing
with a vengeance. You know what I mean? Like that's how it should work. It's
like
not.
it should be motivating you. It should be motivating
Yeah.
you to just like, okay, I'm in the hyperbolic time chamber. When I get out, I'm gonna show my ass. Like when Vegeta did the sale. Like he came out there, let me introduce you to my son.
Allow me to introduce you to my son. His name is Drugs. He too is a true Super Saiyan.
He's almost as strong as me. Like you want to power up like that, like where you like let a motherfucker punch you, you like, bro, come on, this is nothing. But that's what motivates you, and that's what keeps you like going. Like, okay, you're like, I'm gonna do this, but when I get out of here, the world's gonna have to see me. Because if you're like, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, you can't do that shit for the rest of your life, man. How about time trying to kill you? Okay,
Yeah.
but you can do it for 3 months, 6 months, maybe a year tops. Like, let's say if your life is kind of like fucked up, and you're like, you know what? I got to make some changes. You want to have volatile time chamber for a year, and I guarantee you, you'll be the distance you traveled in that year, and who you are, and the person you are, and what you have will shock you.
Yeah, like, and part of the concept is to put yourself in a harsh kind of scenario. Like it's not a hyperbolic time chamber if you're like super comfortable, right? So like for example, when I when I went to Puerto Rico, I was living in my grandma's house. There was no air conditioning and it's hot as hell in Puerto Rico, right? And if you
Boy
watch
was
the
eating eggs
show,
every day. This boy was eating eggs for every meal.
bro, if you watch the Dragon Ball Z show and you see Vegeta like sitting in the fire,
That I had to be strong. I had to step through that wall of flame. I had to do it for him.
Get back.
that's kind of how it was. Like I was literally like in my grandma's house by myself with no one, like in the heat, going to school. Like my life was like school, gym, study, sleep, school, gym, study, sleep, and that was all I was doing for like a good year. For a good year. Now, like that is what a hyperbolic time chamber should look like. Or another example would be like, let's say you have to work a job that you don't like, but it pays you really well, and you're like, okay, I'm gonna put in this year at this job. It pays me super well, and like when I get out of it, I'm gonna have stacks of cash, and I can do what I want after that. You know, like that's a type of hyperbolic time chamber as well because you're putting yourself in a kind of like harsh scenario for big benefits, you know, and like leaping towards your goals. You know, that's what we're talking about. That's a time. That's why it's the hyperbolic time chamber because you put a time limit on it. It's like you're not gonna be there. You're not gonna do that all the time. It's basically like, okay, this is uncomfortable. I'm gonna put myself in an uncomfortable situation for this amount of time, and then I'm gonna get some reward for that. You know, that's another example of the hyperbolic time chamber concept. Basically, it's like, okay, I feel uncomfortable going out by myself. I'm gonna do it for this amount of time. Then maybe next time I won't feel as uncomfortable. That's the reward, you know.